The day I walked into the courthouse, my husband smiled, as if he had already buried me. He leaned close enough for only me to hear. "When this is over, you will leave with nothing." Behind him, his girlfriend laughed. She looked me up and down, then whispered loud enough for everyone nearby. She never deserved any of this anyway. I looked at both of them for only a second before turning away. I did not argue, I did not cry. I simply tightened my grip on the small flash drive inside my purse. Neither of them knew what was stored on it. Neither of them knew that one forgotten security camera had quietly recorded the truth 12 years earlier. And neither of them knew that before this day ended, everything they believed would collapse. My name is Claire Bennett. I am 40 years old. People who meet me today think I am calm by nature. They think I was born strong. The truth is much different. Strength usually grows from surviving things that should have destroyed you. 15 years earlier, I met Ryan Bennett inside a crowded coffee shop. He was funny, confident, full of impossible dreams. He wanted to build a chain of fitness centers across the country. Everyone around him laughed. The banks rejected him. His friends called him unrealistic. I was the only person who believed he could actually do it. Back then, I worked as a high school history teacher. I did not earn much money, but I had stability. Ryan had ambition without resources. I had resources without ambition. Together, we believed we could build a future. We married 2 years later in a tiny church with fewer than 30 guests. Our honeymoon lasted only one weekend because we could not afford anything more. Instead of traveling, we spent our savings renting a small building that became Ryan's first gym. The walls were cracked. The equipment was secondhand. The roof leaked whenever it rained. But Ryan looked around that empty room and smiled. "One day this place will make us millionaires." I laughed because I loved hearing him dream. Every morning I left home before sunrise to teach. Every afternoon I graded papers inside the reception area of the gym while waiting for customers to arrive. Sometimes no one came. Sometimes only one person signed up all week. Ryan wanted to quit many times. Every time he did, I reminded him why he started. Do not give up one step before success. He always smiled after hearing those words. Without you, I would already have failed. The first 3 years were brutal. Bills piled up faster than members joined. There were months when the business lost money every single day. More than once we chose between paying electricity or buying groceries. I secretly worked evening tutoring jobs without telling Ryan because I did not want him worrying about me. When the landlord threatened eviction, I withdrew nearly every dollar from my personal savings account. Ryan cried the night I handed him the check. "I promise I will spend the rest of my life paying you back." I believed him. I believed every promise. Every sacrifice felt temporary because I thought we were building something together. My parents questioned my decisions. My mother asked why I kept supporting a business that seemed impossible. I answered the same way every time. Because I believe in my husband. When Ryan needed new equipment, I sold the car my grandfather had left me. When payroll became impossible, I refinanced our house. When investors disappeared, I worked weekends. Whenever Ryan felt guilty, I reminded him that marriage meant sharing both victories and failures. We are one team. Those words became our family motto. Years later, I would realize I had been the only person still living by them. Everything changed during the 7th year. A famous athlete unexpectedly posted a video training inside one of Ryan's gyms. The clip exploded across social media. Within weeks, membership doubled, then tripled. Television stations wanted interviews. Magazines called him the future of modern fitness. Investors who had ignored him suddenly begged for meetings. Ryan's business expanded faster than either of us imagined. He opened a second location, then a third. Within 2 years, there were 12 gyms carrying his name. People began recognizing him in airports. Complete strangers asked for selfies. I watched his success with genuine pride. Watching someone you love achieve a lifelong dream is a beautiful feeling. At least it is until success changes who they are. The first change was small. Ryan stopped eating dinner at home. He always had another meeting, another investor, another business trip, another networking event. I understood. Growing companies required time. Then birthdays became optional. Anniversaries became forgotten. Vacations disappeared completely. He replaced conversations with text messages. Most were only a few words long. Busy tonight, talk later, do not wait up. Months passed before I noticed something else. Ryan had stopped asking about my life. He never asked how school was going. He never asked about my students. He never asked if I was happy. Every conversation revolved around his business, his numbers, his achievements, his future. One evening, I mentioned wanting to pursue my master's degree. I had postponed that dream for nearly 15 years. Ryan barely looked away from his phone. Why would you do that now? I smiled. Because teaching still matters to me, he shrugged. You do not need another degree anymore. That answer stayed with me longer than he realized, not because it was cruel. Because it revealed something much deeper. Somewhere along the way, Ryan had stopped seeing me as an equal partner. Without saying it directly, he had begun treating me as someone whose dreams no longer mattered. I tried convincing myself I was imagining things. I wanted to believe stress had simply changed him temporarily. Then one rainy afternoon, everything began falling apart. I arrived at his downtown office carrying homemade soup. His assistant looked surprised to see me. I thought Mr. Bennett was with you today. My heart skipped. What do you mean? She looked confused. He canceled every meeting because he said his wife needed him. I smiled politely and thanked her. Then I walked back to my car without leaving the soup. For the first time in 15 years, I realized I had absolutely no idea where my husband really was. I told myself there had to be a reasonable explanation. Maybe Ryan had surprised me with a trip. Maybe he was meeting a client who valued privacy. Maybe his assistant simply misunderstood. I wanted to believe every excuse except the obvious one. That evening, Ryan came home after midnight. His expensive suit smelled faintly of perfume that was not mine. He kissed my forehead as if nothing had happened. Long day, I forced a smile. How was your meeting? Great, signed another investor. Then he walked upstairs before I could ask another question. For the first time in our marriage, I wondered if he had just lied to my face. Over the next several weeks, I stopped asking questions. Instead, I started paying attention. Patterns always reveal the truth. Ryan suddenly changed every password. His phone never left his pocket. Whenever a message arrived, he turned the screen away from me. If I entered a room while he was on the phone, he immediately ended the conversation. Business has become crazy, he always said. I nodded every time. Inside, I knew something was wrong. One Saturday morning, Ryan claimed he was flying to Chicago for a fitness conference. After he left, I searched online for the event. It had been canceled 2 months earlier. My stomach tightened. I still did not confront him, not yet. Instead, I drove to one of our older gym locations. The manager greeted me warmly. Mrs. Bennett, we have not seen you in months. How is everything? Fine. I just wanted to stop by. As we talked, I noticed several framed photographs hanging on the wall. Ryan stood beside employees at grand openings. Ryan shaking hands with celebrities. Ryan receiving awards. Then I saw one picture that had been moved into a dark corner. It showed both of us standing in front of the very first gym. The sign behind us was faded. Our clothes were cheap. We looked exhausted. But we were smiling like two people who believed anything was possible. Someone had almost hidden that photograph. I stared at it for a long time. The manager noticed. Mr. Bennett asked us to replace most of the older photos during the renovation. He said the company needed a more modern image. I smiled politely. Inside, my heart broke a little. It was not just the photograph. Ryan was slowly erasing every piece of the life we had built together. A week later, I found a hotel receipt inside the pocket of one of his jackets. The hotel was only 20 minutes from our house. There had never been any business conference there. The reservation included dinner for two, champagne, a luxury suite. The date matched the same afternoon. Ryan claimed he had been meeting investors. I sat alone in the kitchen staring at the receipt. I expected tears, none came. Instead, I felt strangely calm, almost empty. The following Monday, my attorney friend Melissa called me. She had known both of us for years. Claire. Can we meet? There is something you should know. We met at a quiet cafe across town. Melissa looked uncomfortable. I hate being involved in this. But I would regret saying nothing. She slid her phone across the table. A photograph filled the screen. Ryan stood outside an expensive restaurant. His arm wrapped around a younger woman. They were kissing. I recognized her immediately. Vanessa Cole. One of the newest fitness coaches hired 6 months earlier. Melissa reached across the table. I am so sorry. I looked at the picture for several seconds before handing the phone back. Thank you for telling me. That was all I said. No screaming. No dramatic scene. No public confrontation. Sometimes betrayal hurts so deeply that it leaves no energy for anger, only silence. That night, Ryan came home smiling. He talked excitedly about opening another location in California. I listened carefully. When he finished, I asked one simple question. Are you happy? He looked surprised. Of course. Why, just wondering. He smiled again. Everything is finally perfect. I looked at him across the dinner table. For the first time, I realized he truly believed his own lies. 3 days later, fate handed me something I never expected. I had returned to our first gym, searching for old financial records that had been stored in the basement years earlier. Most boxes contained tax documents and expired membership forms. While moving shelves, I noticed a dusty metal cabinet pushed against the wall. Inside were several external hard drives labeled Security Archive. I almost ignored them, then I remembered. The original building had once been protected by a 24-hour camera system before Ryan upgraded everything. Curious, I brought the drives home. After several hours, I finally recovered the files. Thousands of hours of forgotten recordings appeared on my computer. Employees cleaning equipment, customers working out, empty hallways. Nothing unusual. Then I opened a recording from 12 years earlier. Ryan sat inside the tiny office speaking with 2 potential investors. One investor asked a simple question. Who has been keeping this business alive while revenue stayed so low? Ryan laughed. My wife. She has paid the rent more times than I can count. Without Claire, this company would have died years ago. I stopped breathing. There were more videos, another meeting, another conversation. Another confession. Every success I have today belongs to both of us. She believed in me before anyone else did. One day, half of everything here will always belong to her. I replayed those words again and again. The man speaking in those recordings sounded nothing like the Ryan who now claimed I had contributed nothing. Then I found one final video. It changed everything. Ryan sat alone late at night speaking with his accountant. His voice was clear. If Claire ever leaves me, make sure nobody can prove how much money she invested in the early years. We need to reorganize the records before it becomes a problem. The accountant hesitated. That sounds risky. Ryan answered without emotion. She trusts me. She will never see it coming. I stared at the screen, unable to move. At that exact moment, every remaining doubt disappeared. This was no affair born from bad decisions. This had been planned for a very long time. I picked up my phone. Instead of calling my husband, I called the best divorce attorney in the city. Her first question was simple. Do you have evidence? I looked at the flash drive sitting beside my computer. More than enough. And for the first time in months, I smiled. Attorney Rebecca Collins did not smile after watching the videos. She watched every second in complete silence. When the final recording ended, she leaned back in her chair and folded her hands. How many copies exist? 3. One in my safe, one with my sister. One on this drive, she nodded. Good. Never keep evidence in only one place. She opened a legal pad. From this moment forward, you do exactly what I tell you. Do not argue with Ryan. Do not accuse him. Do not mention the recordings. Let him believe he is winning. People make the biggest mistakes when they think they are untouchable. For the next 4 months, I lived beside a stranger. Ryan smiled at breakfast. He kissed my forehead before leaving for work. He spoke about our future as though nothing had changed. Every lie became easier for him. Every truth became easier for me. Rebecca and her team quietly gathered every document connected to our marriage: bank statements, mortgage agreements, loan applications, insurance records, old emails, corporate filings, employment contracts, tax returns. Every single record matched the timeline from the security videos. The more we searched, the more we discovered. Ryan had slowly removed my name from several business documents. He transferred company vehicles into another corporation. He opened new accounts without telling me. He even claimed that many of the early investments had come from personal loans instead of family money. Unfortunately for him, paperwork never forgets. The bank still had the original files. Each one carried my signature. Each one proved I had guaranteed the loans personally. Rebecca smiled for the first time. He is building his own prison. He just does not know it yet. One afternoon, Ryan surprised me. I think we should finally make this official. He slid several papers across the dining table. Divorce documents, already prepared, already signed by him. I looked at the first page. According to the agreement, I would receive almost nothing. No ownership, no percentage of the company. Only enough money to buy a small apartment. Ryan crossed his arms confidently. This is more than fair. The business is mine. You were just my wife. Those words should have shattered me. Instead, they confirmed everything. I slowly closed the folder. I need time to think. He smiled. Take all the time you want. You cannot change the facts. I almost laughed. He had no idea what the facts actually were. The following week, mutual friends began calling. Every conversation sounded the same. Ryan says the divorce will be over in one hearing. He says you never helped build the business. He says you are only trying to take what belongs to him. I never defended myself. I never argued. Truth does not become stronger because you repeat it louder. Meanwhile, Ryan became more careless. He brought Vanessa to company parties. Employees whispered behind their backs. Some looked embarrassed when they saw me. Others avoided eye contact completely. Only one employee approached me privately. His name was Daniel. He had worked at the first gym since the opening day. Mrs. Bennett. There is something you deserve to have. He handed me a small envelope. Inside was an old company newsletter, printed nearly 13 years earlier. On the front page was a photograph of Ryan standing beside me. The headline read, Founders Claire and Ryan Bennett celebrate first anniversary. Daniel smiled sadly. Mr. Bennett ordered us to destroy every copy years ago. I kept one, just in case. I thanked him with tears in my eyes, not because of the paper. Because someone else remembered the truth. The divorce hearing arrived faster than expected. The courthouse buzzed with lawyers and families waiting for their cases. Rebecca organized several thick binders across our table. Every page had color-coded tabs. Every document had a matching exhibit number. She looked at me calmly. Nervous no, angry not anymore. Good, that means you are ready. The courtroom doors opened. Ryan entered wearing a custom-tailored navy suit that probably cost more than my monthly salary. Vanessa followed several steps behind wearing a bright white dress. She smiled as though she had already won. Ryan noticed me immediately. He walked over with absolute confidence. Last chance, Claire. Sign the agreement, walk away peacefully. Otherwise, this will become embarrassing. I looked directly into his eyes, for who he frowned slightly, then laughed, still trying to be clever. You have no evidence. You have no business experience, you have nothing. Rebecca quietly closed one of her binders. Actually, my client has quite a lot. Ryan barely looked at her. His attorney interrupted before anything else could be said. We will settle this inside. The judge entered moments later. Everyone stood. The courtroom fell silent. Ryan attorney began with a polished presentation. Your Honor. Mr. Bennett is the sole founder of one of the most successful fitness companies in the state. Every meaningful business decision was made by him alone. Mrs. Bennett was never involved in management. She made no substantial contribution to the growth of the company. Accordingly, she has no reasonable claim to business ownership. Ryan nodded confidently after every sentence. Then it was Rebecca's turn. She stood slowly, Your Honor. The respondent has indeed built an impressive company. We do not dispute that. However, we strongly dispute how that company survived long enough to become successful. She placed a single flash drive on the evidence table. Today we would like the court to view several recordings that have never before been presented. Ryan smiled. His attorney smiled. Vanessa smiled. None of them realized those smiles would disappear within the next few minutes. The judge adjusted his glasses and looked toward Rebecca. You may proceed. She connected the flash drive to the courtroom monitor. The screen remained black for several seconds. Ryan leaned back in his chair with a confident smile. His attorney folded his arms. Vanessa crossed one leg over the other without the slightest concern. Then the first video appeared. The date flashed across the top corner. 12 years earlier, the office was tiny. The paint on the walls was peeling. Old workout equipment could be seen through the glass door. Ryan sat across from two investors. One of them asked a simple question. If this business keeps losing money, how are you still open? The younger Ryan laughed. Because my wife refuses to let me fail. She has paid our rent 3 times already. She even sold her car so I could buy new equipment. Without Claire, there would not be a company. The courtroom became completely silent. Ryan's smile disappeared. His attorney leaned closer to the screen. Rebecca pressed pause. Your Honor, this recording has been authenticated by a certified digital forensic expert. The timestamp has been verified. The original storage device has also been preserved. The judge nodded. Continue. The second recording began. This time Ryan stood beside his accountant, reviewing financial statements. He pointed toward a stack of unpaid invoices. Claire covered payroll again. I keep telling her one day half of this company will belong to her. She deserves every bit of it. The accountant smiled. You married the right woman. Ryan laughed. She believed in me before I believed in myself. The video ended. No one spoke. The silence inside the courtroom became almost uncomfortable. Ryan attorney finally stood. Your Honor, these are simply emotional conversations. They prove nothing regarding ownership. Rebecca calmly picked up another folder. Actually, they prove something very important, intent. She handed several documents to the court clerk. Each recording matches financial records already submitted into evidence. The dates are identical, the amounts are identical. Every payment made by Mrs. Bennett appears in the company bank statements. The judge slowly reviewed the documents. March 8th, $40,000, mortgage refinance, business operating account, April 15th. Payroll transfer, personal savings, equipment purchase. Every number matched perfectly. The judge looked directly at Ryan. Mr. Bennett. Did your wife make these payments? Ryan hesitated. I do not remember, Rebecca immediately answered. Perhaps Exhibit 23 will help refresh his memory. Another email appeared on the screen. It had been sent by Ryan himself. Subject, thank you. The judge began reading aloud. Claire. I know you emptied your savings today to keep the gym alive. I promise I will never forget what you are sacrificing for us. One day every success will belong to both of us. Love, Ryan. The judge placed the paper on the bench. Did you write this email? Ryan swallowed. Yes, but the judge interrupted. Answer only the question, yes or no, yes. Rebecca continued without raising her voice. No further explanation is necessary. Ryan, attorney, quickly stood. Your Honor, business owners often exaggerate gratitude inside private messages. That does not create legal ownership. Rebecca smiled slightly. I agree, that alone would not. Which is why we are not finished. She pressed play again. The final recording filled the courtroom. Ryan sat alone with his accountant late at night. His face looked exhausted. His words were painfully clear. If Claire ever leaves me, we need to move the early financial records somewhere she cannot find them. Too much of this company was built with her money. The accountant looked nervous. That sounds dishonest. Ryan answered coldly, she trusts me, she will never know. The recording ended. For several long seconds, nobody moved. Even the air inside the courtroom felt heavy. Vanessa slowly lowered her head. Ryan's face had become completely pale. His attorney whispered something urgently into his ear. Ryan did not answer. The judge removed his glasses. Mr. Bennett. Did you make this recording? Ryan stared at the table. Yes. Did you instruct your accountant to conceal financial records connected to your wife's contributions? Ryan remained silent. The judge repeated the question. Mr. Bennett, answer the court. Ryan closed his eyes. Yes. A wave of whispers spread across the courtroom. The judge struck the gavel once. Order. Rebecca stood one final time. Your Honor, my client never asked for revenge. She only asked for the truth. Today, the respondent has confirmed under oath that Mrs. Bennett financially supported the company. He also admitted attempting to hide those contributions before filing for divorce. The evidence speaks for itself. The judge looked toward Ryan, attorney. Do you wish to continue arguing that? Mrs. Bennett made no meaningful contribution to this business. The attorney remained standing for several seconds. Then he slowly sat back down. No, Your Honor. The judge nodded once. Very well. The court will recess for 30 minutes before issuing its ruling. Ryan looked toward Claire for the first time since the hearing began. The confidence that had filled his face that morning was completely gone. Only fear remained. 30 minutes later, everyone returned to the courtroom. The atmosphere had completely changed. Earlier that morning, Ryan had entered like a man celebrating victory. Now he sat perfectly still. His expensive suit looked exactly the same. But confidence had vanished from his face. Vanessa no longer smiled. She stared at the floor without saying a word. The judge reviewed several pages before looking directly at both attorneys. After examining the evidence presented today and reviewing the authenticated financial records, this court has reached its decision. Every eye inside the courtroom focused on the bench. The judge continued. The evidence clearly establishes that Mrs. Bennett made substantial financial contributions during the formative years of the company. The court also finds that Mr. Bennett knowingly attempted to conceal those contributions while representing himself as the sole creator of the business. The courtroom remained silent. Accordingly, the company is determined to be marital property subject to equitable division under applicable law. The previous settlement proposal is rejected in its entirety. A complete financial valuation will be conducted immediately. Mrs. Bennett will receive her lawful share of all marital assets, including the business interests created during the marriage. Furthermore, Mr. Bennett shall be responsible for the legal fees resulting from the unnecessary litigation caused by inaccurate financial disclosures. The gavel struck once, decision entered, just like that. It was over, no dramatic music, no applause. Only the truth finally being heard. Ryan lowered his head. His attorney quietly gathered the remaining files. Vanessa stood up without looking at anyone and hurried toward the exit. She disappeared before Ryan even left his chair. For the first time in years, he was completely alone. As people slowly left the courtroom, Ryan called my name, Claire. I stopped walking but did not turn around immediately. When I finally faced him, he looked older than he had only an hour earlier. His shoulders had dropped. His voice had lost every trace of arrogance. I was wrong. Those 3 words echoed through the empty courtroom. I convinced myself that success belonged only to me. I forgot who stood beside me when nobody believed in me. I forgot every sacrifice you made. I forgot the woman who never gave up on me. I am sorry. I looked at him quietly. Years ago, hearing those words would have meant everything. Today they meant almost nothing. I did not help you because I wanted ownership. I helped you because I loved you. You stopped loving me long before this courtroom. Ryan closed his eyes, I know. There was nothing else left to say. I wished him well and walked away. Not because he deserved forgiveness, but because I deserved peace. 3 months later, the settlement was finalized. I received exactly what the law said I had earned. Nothing more, nothing less. I never bought a mansion. I never purchased expensive cars. Instead, I resigned from my teaching job and opened a financial education center for women rebuilding their lives after divorce. Many arrived with broken confidence. Some believed they had wasted decades supporting someone else's dream. Every time I shared my story, I reminded them of one simple truth. Supporting someone you love is never weakness. Losing yourself while doing it is. The center grew faster than I ever expected. Women from different cities came seeking advice. Some needed help understanding finances. Others simply needed someone to remind them that their sacrifices had value. One afternoon, nearly a year later, I received a handwritten letter. It was from Ryan. Inside was only one sentence. Thank you for telling the truth, even when I did not deserve your kindness. I folded the letter and placed it inside a drawer. Then I returned to work. Not every chapter deserves to be reopened. Some are meant to remain closed forever. People often ask me if winning in court felt satisfying. The answer surprises them. The greatest victory was never the money. It was walking away, knowing I no longer needed someone else to recognize my worth. The courtroom did not make me valuable. The judge did not create my strength. The evidence did not define my life. Those things only revealed what had been true all along. Real success is not building an empire. Real success is never forgetting the people who helped build it with you. Because the strongest foundations are not made of concrete or steel. They are built on loyalty, trust, and gratitude. The moment those disappear, everything else eventually falls apart. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you in any way, please leave a comment and tell us what you would have done in Claire's position. Do you believe Ryan deserved a second chance, or was walking away the only right decision? If you enjoy stories about justice, betrayal, and unforgettable courtroom moments, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next story. See you in the next video.